Good evening, my Edu family, and let me welcome you to our Analysis Thursday and also our Strategy Sunday live feature that we usually have at the end of the month to just look at what we have been doing over the month, to answer questions, to provide suggestions, to hear your feedback. That is primarily what we are here to do. And so we have changed up things a little different. Hi Tanisha, thank you for joining. So we have changed up how we go about looking at this Analysis Thursday or this live in general. Usually we would have a live at a live for Analysis Thursday live and a Sunday live. But we realized that when we do the live like on a Sunday and then we do it on a Thursday, we don't get much participation, of course, and then we don't have enough questions to delve into the strategies and all of that we would have looked at. So we have taken on a new approach where we are combining both the Analysis Thursday and the Strategy Sunday live. So we just do one live at the end of the month. Now, for the month of April, we looked at technologies in the classroom. And we know that technology in the classroom, it is a big thing now. The pandemic, in light of the pandemic, there's a greater push towards having teachers involved in technology in the classroom, utilizing technology, having children become au fait with technology so that we can transcend the teaching and learning environment. And so I thought it best that we could look at how we go about dealing with technology. So on the first Sunday, we looked at the Assure model with Mrs. Kadabra Bernard Brown. And she highlighted quite a few things as it relates to the Assure model, what it entails, how we go about selecting the technologies to use in our classroom, how we look at our learners. So it is not just about us selecting a technology and we just run with it and we just use it in our classroom. No, we have to think about our learners that we have, the context in which they operate. Are they privy to the technologies that we would want to utilize? Do they have access? Do they have connectivity? What type of learners do you have? All of those will have to be taken into consideration as you plan your lessons for the use of technology. The second Sunday, we looked at selection of technologies with Mrs. Vajana Jones-Mullins, who is a master teacher at the Manchester High School. And when we looked at that, the selection of technologies, it brought about some very important pointers that as educators we need to take on, we need to adapt to, and we need to utilize it so that we can get our learners in the forefront, ready to learn and to transcend what is being taught to them. And so when she looked at technologies, again, we have to look at who our learners are, the context in which we operate. So maybe in Kingston, there's a particular high school or a particular, so there's a particular high school that may not be government owned. And so they have donors, they have past students, they have these many corporate Jamaica buying into what they're doing. And so they're able to purchase devices and rent them to their students or loan it to them to be utilized. Or these may be privileged students who have parents who are able to purchase devices or able to get them connectivity that they need at all times to get into the classroom. As opposed to a school in Westmoreland that in that district, there is no technology. The parents don't have the money to purchase devices. They're not working. They depend on the help of family members and the help from other individuals, kind-hearted people. And so you're going to find that when you're in Kingston and you're teaching at that high school, and you can say, okay, we're going to be doing some live worksheets today, and so you send them the link and they log in and they answer their questions and everything is okay. or you may be using gamification. So you go in and you use Kahoot or Edpuzzle, and woo, the students are participating and everything is going on. But then when you go to Westmoreland, the teacher in Westmoreland cannot do that. Why? Because the children, they are limited to accessibility with device and also connectivity to technology. So you have to bear those in mind when you think about the technologies. Also, I always say to teachers, put yourself in the place of the students, right? Put yourself in the place of the students. How would you teach them? How would you want to be taught by a teacher? How would you bring across a lesson? What exciting thing can you do to help the learners? Or how would it help you as the teacher in the classroom? And so when you do that, you are planning for them and you're ensuring that whatever you're doing, it is engaging and it is exciting and it is fun for them. All right. Another thing too, when we look at the selection of technologies, we want to look at what is current, what is working, what can work in your area, what are the things, what are the different things that we have available in our area. And when I say our area, I am referring to your subject area. What are the things that are there? What are the methods? What are the games? What are the content, the gamification apps? What is there that link you to social studies? Can you use social studies? Thank you for joining. I'm not sure if that is Coulter or if that is Derlo, but I want to welcome you to join in our live session this afternoon. We're looking at technologies in the classroom, and we're just underscoring some points that as educators we need to be mindful of, and also as parents, what are the things that we need to bear in mind when we think about technologies in the classroom. All right, so when we think about the gamification apps, we have to think about what works in our area. So if you're doing social studies, will you be able to find a game that is already out there, or a puzzle that is already out there that you can pull down and use about Jamaica? Maybe not. But maybe if you go to science, there are myriads of information, myriads of data and information and sheets and all of that you can pull down and you can use, because science is science. But we do know that in social studies, when we think about social studies and history and so on, it is taken within a particular context. So in America, they may have American history, American independence, or, topics related to America. While in Jamaica, we may not go, we tend to cover to a great extent the Caribbean, right, in certain areas. So when you're looking at the Caribbean and all of that, you may not be able to find as much as you'd want to. So you want to bear that in mind also. The third week in April, we looked at utilization of technologies with another master teacher, Mrs. Lisa Morgan. And to a great extent, she really laid out to explain to us how we can go about as educators, as we plan our lessons. How can we get our students excited? How can we use these gamification apps, these different apps that are out there? The challenge, or what is easy, is that we now have learners who they have technology at their disposal. A 5-year-old can show you how to log into Zoom. They can show you how to get into Google Classroom, where you need to go to get certain materials, right? And so if they come predisposed with the ability to utilize technology, why as educators we are not teaching in that line? Why are we not pushing in that line to open up the technology and have the students using it? Sometimes it is out of fear. As educators, we are fearful of change. And so when the change comes, we find all sort of excuse as to why it can't work, or why we can't do it, or the challenge that is being faced. It's time for us to just let go a little bit of the excuses and just push and try. Because sometimes you have these students who, in your classroom, if you just push them, if you just give them an avenue in which to do something, you will get to realize the talent that was hidden all along. But if every time you go to the classroom, you just say, no, they can't manage, and you just sit and just give them barely, then they will never rise above the level of the teacher, right? So, but if you go and you are pushing them and you are putting them in the driver's seat and you're allowing them to drive and to see what is out there and stuff, you know, it works for them. It opens up for them. Just last week, I saw a picture of a family. They captured, their daughter was no more than maybe 3 months, and they went to a waterfalls, and they captured her reaction when she saw the water pouring on her eyes and her face just lit up. And when you saw her expression, man, it was something to really look at and take in. Just imagine if they had gone to the waterfalls and the baby was on the daddy's back, so they were walking close towards it. Just imagine if they went to the water park and they said that no, she's going to get wet, it don't make any sense, she's not going to understand, it's not going to work for her, so they just put her in our stroller and have her out on the little pavement, and mommy take a trek and go up to the waterfalls, and then daddy takes a trek and they come back and they're back and forth. The baby would have never ever experienced that. But because they decided to give her the chance to explore, so they took her on their back and she actually saw how the waterfall looked, and she was able to react to it. That makes a difference. It is the same thing in our classroom educators. When we go and we take the students out on a limb, we show them the possibilities, we show them their potential and what exists. Can you imagine how you'll be able to pull them up, how they will be performing, how they will be behaving? I watch it every day, and I see how students behave when they can't get something, and then how they behave when they get something right, and teacher just big them up and give them a sticker and clap and shout and all of that. It does something for their self-esteem. If we have more teachers who look at these students and try to pull them out and try to give them that opportunity to excel, we will have better nations to come, right? So on the fourth week now, we looked at teachers' reflection. And so I interviewed a teacher that I taught at Teachers College, and she was just sharing, you know, what her challenges were and how it has been for her being a new teacher in the classroom. And then, whoa, you were used to teaching physically, and then you just had to turn to the virtual setting. How has it been like? And I know educators that it is not easy. I'm not going to sit here and say to you, you can manage and it can work. There are going to be days when you're just tired and you just want to just give up and you just don't want to, right? And there are days when you're upbeat and everything is working all right and you're good and you have that energy to go. You're human, that's fine. But what I would like for more educators to do is to just commit themselves totally. Just commit to being consistent. Commit to being deliberate. Commit to be strategic in your approach in everything that you do. There's a reason for you to do it. There's a plan as to how you're going to achieve it, and then you watch and you see the results that are there. And so as she shared, you know, she shared the challenges of being in a space at home, and you know, children are at home now and they're trying to learn. Sometimes the background noises, when it's not background noises, it is just internet connectivity issues. Sometimes they themselves don't know how to get on at first, and it may be challenging for the parents and so on. But through it all, as we looked at technologies over the month of April, I can say it was a mouthful. I had persons reaching out to say, you know, thank you for actually delving into giving them new light on what is existing, how they can plan and organize. Because the truth is, you're not going to get it in one go. You know, Rome wasn't built in one day. And I always wonder why they always say that. And as I got older, I realized that yes, indeed, Rome was not built in one day. It's a beautiful, beautiful place. How could it be built in one day? It would have meant that they would have started to build little by little, and they go back and they check and say, okay, maybe we can put a flowers here, maybe we can put this wall over there or something. So they keep going in and checking and making the corrections and fitting it up until it is beautiful, right? The flower didn't just get beautiful in one day. The rose didn't just get all that scent and that lovely look in one day. No, it started from it being a seed, and then it germinated, and then it took its time, and it's watered, and it is fed, and then there you go, you have beautiful roses. It's the same thing as we progress as educators in the classroom. We are not going to get everything right in one go, but the key is for us to be consistent. Keep watering our flowers. Keep weeding it. Keep pulling away the weeds and prevent it from choking the sprout. Keep turning the flower. So you realize that after a heavy downpour of rain, the flower turned down a little bit, like what we're experiencing now with this pandemic. We're a little bit turned down as educators. But then just see how best you can twist it and turn it and put it, maybe even give it support, right? To get it to start growing towards the sun. That is what we need in our education system. That is what is expected of us as educators, that we be consistent, we keep doing. Some of the things that I usually, one of the things that I usually say, you know, when I speak with educators, because I'm passionate about this system, I usually say, you know, be consistent, steady and slow. Yeah. The race is not for the swift, but for those who can endure. And sometimes you know, we tend to judge ourselves based on what someone else is doing. So because the teacher or the educator in that classroom gets all her students to do this or to do that, we go home and we pine away and we cry and we frustrate and want to hang up the teaching hat because nothing is not going on for us. But could you imagine that you are just seeing the glory of the end result of the educator who is at 15 years of teaching? If you could look back and see her journey and her story, you would maybe pat yourself on the shoulder, because she would have been through a lot, or he would have been through a lot, trying to master the craft, trying to get to where he or she should be. And so you cannot judge yourself based on what someone else is doing. You have to focus on you. And I always say this when I get an opportunity to do my live, that I say to educators, collaboration is the key. You know, I admire the Chinese persons. You know why I admire them? If you notice, when they have their businesses, yeah, and because I'm in Jamaica, I get to see that a lot. So they have their businesses in Jamaica. And you know what they do? If they're in a particular vicinity, they pool together and they purchase their items. Same items, you know. They purchase their items from one place. And the shipment come, and who is to get this box and that box and that box and that box. And they all sell. And let me tell you something. The Chinese places, they're always filled up. And their merchants get sold off. Because they have learned how to nurture each other and how to help each other along. You never see, you know, you may see other cultures or other people, but you don't see it so nice as how you see it with them. They share what they have. They share their resources. They build each other up. Sometimes they have their businesses, and persons will say that, you know, after every 5 years they move out of it and they put in their children or their auntie or somebody else. I don't have proof of that. I've only been hearing it. But I'm saying, if that is true, then that's lovely, because they are building their legacy and they're allowing their family and those who are close to them to feed from the pot that they're feeding from. Then why, as educators, why can't we collaborate with each other? Why do we believe that, okay, because you are good at something, I mustn't talk to you, or I must shun you? No, you don't. You see teacher X doing something and you love it. Comment teacher X, man. Go to teacher X class and look and see what teacher X does. Ask teacher X, how you get this done? Show me how it is done. Collaboration is the key. We should be complementing each other instead of competing with each other. And when we do that, we will realize how we are able to move this educational system, how we can get it to blossom and bloom. I collaborate a lot with educators. So I may have something, I may have a topic to teach. And I have a topic to teach and I may not have resources on it. I can call an educator from another school and say, listen, I'm doing this topic, but I don't have certain materials. What you have on this topic, you can send it across to me. It may be a PowerPoint, it may be a lesson plan, it may be something that I can use. I take it And I have educators that sometimes when I plan my lessons, I just shoot it across in an email to them. You may never know how it's going to help them, how they'll be able to benefit from it. So you should be sharing your resources. You should be sharing what you know. You should be sharing, because the more you share, the better it is for you. You're helping another teacher. You're helping another student. But, you know, for too long, I remember coming up through all-age school. And we, you know, in some school settings, teachers or the education system kind of push students to be selfish, to be individualistic in their approach. So you sit at your desk and teacher writes something on the board, and you copy it and you lock up your book. Lock it up. Your classmate beside you say, Mary, how you get that? How you work it out? Me no know, yeah, man. Me can't show you my book. I don't want to show you. Let me speak standard English for those who are going to be watching, or those who are watching I can't understand. I don't understand how it's done. I can't explain it to you. How you can't explain something but you put it down in the book? If I even try to explain it, try to explain it to the person. So we have taught them to be individualistic. And so I always say to individuals, notice a child who has some children, some, not all of them. Sometimes they have 10 sexy subjects, 9 sexy subjects, and they can't hold a job down. They have their degree, perfect GPA. They have all the accolades behind them. They were head boy, head girl, prefect, this, that, student council representative, youth parliamentarian, all of these things. And I'm not saying that those things are not good. They're good. You need to acquire them, right? You need to work towards them. But what I'm pointing out is that they're so individualistic that they think about themselves. So they're able to achieve all these things. But then they can't keep a job, or they're in a job but they have difficulties with team members. They're always at odds. They're not getting support. They don't get the support that they need to get. Why is that so? Because they have not learned to work together in a team. They don't know what teamwork is like. All they know about is just to work on their own. They're just working on their own. They're not, they don't know how to explain something to someone. They don't know how to teach someone. They don't know how to demonstrate or to show someone how to arrive at an answer, because all their high school, primary school, high school life, college life, they have been selfish in their approach. You are studying, or you say, all right, you're in a particular course, and say, all right, let's just meet and study. Oh, I have something to do. I can't, you know. They find so many excuses as to why they can't. Yes. And so what you realize is that because they don't know how to take on the approach of the teamwork, they end up suffering in their careers. And you wonder, but this is a brilliant boy, this is a brilliant young lady, why she can't have a good job? Or why she can't launch out and be an entrepreneur? Because she's not a people person, or he's not a people person, or they don't know how to work together with people. So you know, they suffer along the way. So, you know, as I wrap up and as I close out with this, you know, I just want to say to us as educators, the pandemic is not going anywhere. It's going to be here for a while. And while the pandemic is here for a while, it's going to affect the way we progress, the way we move forward in terms of our education system, especially in some countries. You know, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be challenging because we don't have the necessary resources to deal with it. But, you know, I remember teaching at this particular high school, and their motto was, whatever your hands find to do, do it with all your might. And so as educators, whatever limited resources we have, we know how to turn it into fashion. We know how to be resilient. We know what is expected of us, and we know that we can do it. So I just want to encourage you and to empower you as you go forward, and you have to adapt to these new changes, and you have to utilize the technologies to reach your students. Don't give up. Don't give up. Be consistent. Be steady. Research. Read. Absorb yourself challenge yourself each week to learn about a new app. Challenge yourself to share your information that you have with someone else. Challenge yourself to be good. And when I say to be good, I mean to demonstrate excellence in the classroom. And by demonstrating excellence, you'll realize how much you'll help students along. And you may never know who is watching. It could be another teacher, and they're learning from you. So don't give up. Don't get discouraged. Just put your head to what you need to put your head to. Just put your hands and your heart to knowing that you are going to make the nations around the world better. Because when we teach in a particular location, we may never know where that student may end up being, and so you want to give it your best and your all. So thank you for those of you who have joined and you would have participated. Unfortunately, I did not get any questions this week, but I know life happens, and so I'm here, and I just shared with you some of the takeaways from the week that is the month that was. And so for the month of May, we're going to be focusing on lesson planning, how we go about planning our lessons for the virtual classroom. And I have one exciting project that is up. There is what is called whole brain training, which is a part of brain-based training, and I've partnered with the one and only institute in America, that's Whole Brain Teachers of America, with Chris Biffle. So I've partnered with them to ask them to train some teachers in Jamaica how to utilize whole brain teaching so that we can improve our education system. And we have limited spaces, only 25 persons they can train in this first batch, and so it's only for primary and early childhood teachers at this time. As we progress, we will try to include our high school teachers as well. So that advertisement will be going out shortly. So if you know of anyone who would be interested, you're a primary school teacher or early childhood teacher or an early childhood teacher, and you want to learn about whole brain teaching, the effects of it's wonderful. I myself have been using it, some aspects of it, that is the brain-based aspect of it, and I see where it is benefiting my students. So I just want to put it out there. It's the first time. They're excited as well. They're super excited because they have trained individuals in 100 countries, but they have never ever trained anyone in Jamaica. Can you imagine that? Yes. And so we're bringing it to Jamaica, and we expect that our teachers in Jamaica will be able to benefit from this whole brain training, and they will be able to continue the training program with others as the first batch is out. So thank you again for being a part of this live. Thank you for allowing me into your space at this time. I know quite a few of the educators could not be on because there is a CSEC virtual town hall that is going on, but life happens and we just have to do what we have to do. All the best, educators, and keep doing what you are doing. Keep making strides, and keep on empowering our students in Jamaica, in America, in Europe, wherever you, Canada, wherever you are. Keep empowering, keep pushing, because at the end of the day, we are training these individuals to take over, to become leaders of the countries, and we want to ensure that when they become leaders, it is because of our influence as educators, why they are where they are and performing as best as they can. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and see you for the month of May when we look at lesson planning. Thank you.